There's no magic bullet to solving the issue of mass violence in our society. As such, there's no single solution that will make our schools safer. That said, there are definitely things we can do to make our schools safer. It starts with a dialogue at the local level among all of the key stakeholders and an attitude that it understands it will take a holistic, multifaceted approach that embraces multiple disciplines.
You know, the entire community actually has to be engaged in creating a peaceful environment where everyone gets an opportunity to learn. You know, I would probably focus on making sure that we're supporting students and parents with social and emotional learning opportunities. Many of us come from communities or from homes where we've experienced a lot of trauma and violence, and we have to create an environment that actually supports students before we penalize students.
Policy only comes from good information, and it wasn't until recently that we actually were able to define what the scope of this problem really is. It's embarrassing that in a recent study that was done on school shootings, if you want to look at shootings, that 0.2% of the schools reported back to the agencies in the way of a survey to give them the data that they use. It is a community approach, and you won't have a safe school unless you have a safe community.
These mass violent incidents did not just occur. The reality is, by the time it gets to law enforcement, it's almost too late.
We have to both be modeling and providing opportunities to build our skills and the skills of our students so that they can, in fact, handle conflict in a nonviolent way, so that they feel like there's somewhere else to turn.
Communities are expecting to know the officers that patrol their community. They want them out of their police cars. They want them to be able to identify in advance what are the issues in the community, who are the people that are causing some of the issues. Just a familiarity that once existed.
The intelligence you get through positive relationships is so much more valuable than the old snitch route. And you can count on that intelligence. And if you do your job as a law enforcement officer and investigate that, you can save lives.
Deep in my heart, I know that had there been people in our school building who had good, deep relationships with those two young people, they probably would have never murdered anybody. Kicking young people out of our buildings, that should not be the way we approach problems that are happening. We really need more services that actually address the needs of young people who have very complicated lives.
Mental health, that's a big piece of what an officer needs to know. The early developmental stages of adolescence, those are things that we don't train, and I think we need to look at what are the measures of effectiveness for a campus officer, because coming from municipal to a campus environment, totally different. If you go back to what we were talking about, building relationships, it's critical. And so much of our training does not include the young people that it's impacting.
We need the absolute best people in the world working in school with our students every day. The best people in the world.